Who are your MVPs, your most valuable prospects? Okay guys, before I dive into the details, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Introduce yourself and say hello in the comment box. Okay, MVPs are what's known as most valuable prospects. Those are your prospects who are most likely to buy your highest ticketed item with the least amount of objections or obstacles. Now, let me go through this. So let's say, I'll give you a few examples. Like way back in the day, my very first sales job, I sold educational books door to door. And at that time, I was able to call on anybody with kids. So anybody with infants up to high school seniors were prospects of mine. But it took me years and years and years to realize not all of those prospects were created equally. Not all of them were my most valuable prospects. So the books that I sold helped kids save time with homework. So I thought, well, kids with the most homework are usually high school kids, right? So I kind of spent a lot of my time and energy calling on families with high school kids. But what I found is that I had a lot of families tell me, well, Billy, he's really lazy. He never does his homework. He's never going to use these books. Or, Billy's a junior in high school. He only has one more year to go. We're not going to invest any money when he's almost done. So there was a lot of objections that I got from parents who had high school kids. So then I kind of started calling on people with younger kids who had like 3rd, 4th, 5th graders. And what I found there is that I had almost zero objections because younger kids are still real excited about school. They get all their homework done. They're not lazy yet. So I never got the Billy won't ever use this because he's lazy with like a 3rd grade family. And what I also found is that the younger the kids were, the more involved the parents were with helping with day-to-day homework, and they needed tools and refresher tools as well. And I also found that parents with younger kids were a lot more willing to invest $600 in their kids' education because they could use the books for, 7, 8, 9, 10 years versus a family that could only use it for 1 year. So then I started finding that my most valuable prospects were people who had elementary age kids. So once I started focusing my time and energy on seeing mostly those families, my sales blew up because I had a lot fewer objections and obstacles. So my question for you is that, let's say you call on attorneys. Surely not all attorneys are your most valuable prospects. Is it courtroom attorneys? Is it contractual attorneys? What type of attorneys are your MVPs? Or let's say you're in medical sales and you call on doctors. Not every type of doctor is going to be your most valuable prospect. Is it cardiologist? Is it gynecologist? Is it dentist? Or orthodontist? Like what type of doctor is your most valuable prospect? Now, the reason it's so important to identify this is number one, so you're not wasting time with a niche of your demographics where there's a lot of obstacles or objections. Number two is once you start getting good at referrals, start asking for referrals to your MVPs. So if your MVPs are cardiologists, you want to get referrals just of cardiologists. If your niche is talking to people with elementary school kids, then get referrals to people with elementary school kids and don't waste time with non-buyers. But once you can identify your MVPs and you spend 80% of your sales efforts talking to your MVPs, you'll see your sales blow up because they are your most valuable prospects who will buy your highest ticketed item with the least amount of objections and obstacles. Okay, so leave in the comment box below, who's your MVP? What do you sell and who are your MVPs? Would love to know. Okay, y'all have a great day. Bye.